Gemini. July 2026 is a month that brings your attention to finances, personal resources, self-worth, communication, learning, and your immediate environment. This is a period when much begins to depend on your decisions, your skills, and your ability to make the most of what is already available to you. At the same time, a new cycle begins, one connected to learning, travel, networking, sharing your ideas, and expanding your circle of contacts. Several slow-moving planets change direction throughout the month, which means many situations will require clarification and adjustment. Some matters will need to be reviewed, others may return from the past, and for certain questions the answers may not fully arrive until the end of July. The first half of the month helps you gain clarity around finances, income sources, and the true value of your talents and abilities. The second half opens new doors through communication, education, travel, networking, and the promotion of personal projects. This is not a month to rush conclusions. The most promising opportunities begin to take shape only after you gain a deeper understanding of your priorities and what truly matters to you. July 2nd. Venus forms an aspect to Black Moon Lilith, while Mars interacts with the lunar nodes. For Gemini, old patterns connected to friendships, groups, relationships, or expectations of other people may resurface. At the same time, certain introductions, conversations, or decisions could influence your future far more significantly than they appear to right now. Pay close attention to recurring themes and to people who unexpectedly reappear in your life. Some encounters may be far more meaningful than they seem at first glance. July 4th. Mars forms a conjunction with Uranus. This is one of the most dynamic and unpredictable aspects of the month. For you, it activates the 12th house of the subconscious mind, hidden influences, spiritual growth, and matters operating behind the scenes. Unexpected information may come to light. Hidden circumstances could be revealed. You may suddenly gain insight into situations that have remained unclear for a long time. Your intuition is especially strong now. At the same time, avoid impulsive reactions or making important decisions solely based on emotions. Give yourself time to process what you learn. July 5th. Mars forms a harmonious aspect to Pluto. The intensity and revelations of previous days begin finding a constructive outlet. You now have an opportunity to use new information, insights, or realizations to address important issues more effectively. This is an excellent aspect for research, strategic planning, preparing major projects, investigating opportunities, and working toward long-term goals. What was hidden is now becoming useful. July 6th. The Sun forms a challenging aspect to Saturn. You may feel increased pressure surrounding financial responsibilities. Plans require a more serious approach, greater discipline, and careful management of resources. This is an excellent day to review your budget, evaluate spending habits, and assess whether your current financial strategies are truly sustainable. Sometimes Saturn's lessons aren't about limitation, they're about creating a stronger foundation. July 7th. Neptune begins its retrograde journey. For Gemini, this marks the beginning of a period of reevaluating future goals, professional aspirations, friendships, communities, and expectations connected to your social or professional circles. Over the coming months, it becomes easier to distinguish between dreams that are truly achievable and those that may require adjustment. This retrograde helps bring greater clarity to your long-term vision. July 9th. The focus now begins shifting toward home and personal comfort. Venus enters Virgo, activating your 4th house. Matters involving family, home life, real estate, renovations, living arrangements, and close relationships require more attention. You may feel inspired to create a more beautiful, peaceful, and supportive environment. This transit also encourages healing and improvement within family relationships and emotional foundations. July 11th. Venus aligns with the South Node. People from the past may reappear. Family themes, childhood memories, or unresolved matters connected to your home and living situation may return for review. In some cases, this aspect signals the completion of a family chapter. In others, it encourages you to release outdated emotional patterns and create healthier foundations moving forward. July 13. By mid-month, more answers begin to emerge. The Sun joins retrograde Mercury in Cancer. This marks the midpoint of the Mercury Retrograde cycle. For Gemini, this conjunction takes place in the 2nd house of income, finances, values, and personal resources. Important information may arrive regarding money, earnings, purchases, investments, resources, or long-term financial planning. Financial questions that have remained uncertain may finally begin making sense. On the same day, Venus forms a harmonious aspect to Uranus. Unexpected positive developments involving family, housing, real estate, or your living situation may occur. Good news from relatives or a surprising solution to a domestic matter is also possible. July 14. A new moon in Cancer begins a brand new cycle in your 2nd house. This lunation focuses on finances, income, self-worth, talents, and personal resources. Over the coming months, new sources of income may emerge. Interesting work opportunities could appear. You may discover new ways to monetize your skills, knowledge, or experience. Perhaps most importantly, your relationship with your own value begins to evolve. You start recognizing your strengths in a new light. July 18. Uranus forms an aspect to Pluto. This is one of the most transformative aspects of the month. Your perspective on the future, education, relocation, international opportunities, long-term development, or major life goals may begin shifting dramatically. You gain greater clarity about which paths genuinely offer growth and expansion. Some dreams become more realistic, others lose their appeal entirely. This transit helps align your future with your authentic direction. July 19. Mars forms an aspect to Saturn. This is a day that asks you to combine initiative with discipline. The practicality of your plans becomes very clear. Career goals, professional development, education, and long-term ambitions come into sharper focus. If an idea truly has potential, you'll begin seeing exactly what is required to make it successful. Patience, consistency, and focused effort are rewarded now. July 20th. Jupiter forms a challenging aspect to Pluto, while simultaneously creating a harmonious aspect to Neptune. This powerful combination influences communication, learning, paperwork, travel, your local environment, and future possibilities. You may feel inspired to expand your knowledge, pursue a larger project, improve your skills, or explore new opportunities. At the same time, it's important to avoid unrealistic expectations and carefully verify information before making major decisions. This is an aspect of tremendous potential, but it requires wisdom, discernment, and attention to detail. The opportunities are real. The question is whether you're willing to approach them strategically. July 22nd, the Sun enters Leo. A highly active and dynamic period begins. Your third house becomes activated. Communication, learning, networking, negotiations, travel, writing, social media, paperwork, and the exchange of information become major themes. Life speeds up considerably. More meetings, conversations, opportunities, and ideas begin flowing into your world. Curiosity increases. New connections become valuable, and your voice carries more influence than usual. July 23rd, Mercury stations direct. Matters that have been unfolding since late June finally begin moving forward. Financial situations become clearer. Questions involving income, purchases, contracts, documents, and personal resources start resolving themselves. The confusion of recent weeks begins lifting. By the end of the month, you gain far greater clarity about where you stand and where you're headed next. July 27. The Sun forms an opposition to Pluto, while simultaneously creating a harmonious aspect to Neptune. This is a day of important realizations and shifting perspectives. Your views on education, travel, future plans, belief systems, or people within your environment may begin changing. Certain conversations could reveal information that completely alters your understanding of the situation. Sometimes a single insight changes everything. On the same day, Saturn begins its retrograde journey in Aries. This marks the beginning of a period of reviewing goals connected to groups, friendships, communities, professional networks, and long-term aspirations. Over the coming months, you'll gain greater clarity about which projects truly have growth potential and which may no longer align with your future. July 29. The full moon in Aquarius arrives, one of the most significant events of the month. For Gemini, it activates the ninth house. Themes involving travel, higher education, publishing, teaching, legal matters, international connections, personal philosophy, and expanding your horizons come into focus. Results from efforts made over the past several months begin to emerge. Plans connected to education, relocation, travel, certification, or personal development may start showing tangible progress. On the same day, the Sun forms a conjunction with Jupiter. This is one of the most powerful and fortunate aspects of the month. It strongly supports learning, communication, public speaking, networking, teaching, content creation, promotion, and personal growth. You may feel a surge of confidence, inspiration, and optimism. Your thinking becomes bigger, your vision expands, and you become far more willing to believe in what is possible. Gemini, July becomes a month of expanding possibilities and discovering new directions. The first half of the month helps you gain clarity around finances, self-worth, resources, and personal value. The second half opens doors through new connections, fresh knowledge, travel opportunities, communication, and broader horizons. This month reminds you that the more willing you are to learn, connect, share ideas, and remain open to new experiences, the more opportunities begin appearing along your path. Have a wonderful July, dear Gemini.